So again, being technical, I realized I have my old intro in there with the old guest.
Yeah, I'm still pumped up from the intro.
Oh, cool, man. Yeah, it was actually a client of mine. He was in a band, and that's one of their songs, and I had them edit it down for me. I really like the kill the noise concept for
Sweet. Yeah, that's
podcast.
great.
So
That's
yeah. So
awesome.
thank you for joining me. This is Joey Ruffalo from JR Financial Coaching, and one of the many co-authors of the upcoming book, The Transformation Within. And I'm joined by Brian Thomas, another financial coach and co-author of Transformation Within. So
Yeah, thanks for having me, Joey. I appreciate it. Yeah, I
yes,
joined this project because I really was interested in publishing a book at some point, and this was a good way to get my foot in the door to kind of write a chapter rather than a whole book. So that was a good way to get over the fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and to just kind of attack it the way I attacked all my financial endeavors. Just start doing it, and good things will happen.
for sure, for sure. Now I'm going to take a quick picture of us so I can pop this on Instagram
Cool.
as a. Let me get my hands out of the way in this photo. There we go. So people know where to find us. And we're just going to do this
Nice.
as we talk live. That's the beauty of live radio, live TV, as they say, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. My wife is even like, I don't know how to watch you. It's called Follow My Channel. You will find it.
Yeah, that's a start.
Yeah. I don't think she does. That's fine.
So, are you
Uh,
expecting any other authors to join us?
I was hoping. We had a few that said yes in the comments, and then Michelle's sick, so she's not going to join today.
Oh, too bad.
I put a link in the Slack channel. I said, "Hey, come on back." I think it's where you might have saw the link to
Yeah, I
this.
just saw a
Yeah,
few
so
minutes
it's,
ago.
hey, come on
So,
over and go from there.
yeah, getting excited for the book launch. Definitely
I
been a
know.
lot of build up and a lot of anticipation, and getting a lot of good support from a lot of my friends, family, and colleagues. So that's good to see everybody willing to, help out the charity as well as helping us, reach some of our goals of becoming an author. And definitely, the Elimugirls charity is something that really drew me to the project. I
Mm-hmm.
really committed myself to doing volunteer work and coaching after I retired early. So that was one of the things that drew me to the project. How about you? What really got you kind of excited or even engaged in this project?
It was something where, I had written a solo book that I hadn't published yet. That I'm finally working on the cover for. It was
Nice.
one of those things where I wrote it, and have you ever watched the Rocky movies?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, the second to last one, or the last one where he's really old and he fights the young guy based on the computer simulation, and
I don't recall that one.
yeah, I think that's called Rocky Balboa. It's like this. He's like really old and he fights the younger champion based on this like computer simulation of like how he would have fared if he was in his prime facing the fighters now. And so he gets out and he starts training again. And Paulie says to him, he's like, "Why are you doing this?" And he goes, "Well, I still got some stuff left in the basement, and he's still got a fire down there." And then when he was done fighting, it didn't matter how it ended. He said, "The basement's empty." So
Just
he
got
was
to get it out.
right. So that's how I felt when I wrote my book. I was like, I was done. I didn't want to look at it. I didn't want to edit it. I was done. Everything was out of my head. I didn't want to revisit it. So it sat there for like 2 years.
What? 2 years? Are you serious? So is it ready to go now? You just need
it's
a
ready.
cover?
It's ready to go now. I finally said, you know what? I gotta get this out. And yeah, if I edited it myself and then I sent it to an editor again. So rereading it was like painful because it was
Just
just I realized how many
attack it like you did your debt, Joey.
I know,
Get
I
that
know.
cover. Get
It
that
was
cover.
so rough, Brian. It was like just reading myself and go, oh, there's so many mistakes. What the heck am I doing? So many mistakes.
Yeah, great. I
Yeah.
love the cover of the Transformation Within book, and you know, it's important to have a really attractive cover. That's one of the things I'm learning about this publishing kind of project and this
Hmm.
whole environment of books. So yeah, don't take it lightly, but don't procrastinate either. You can probably, I don't know what your process is to get a cover, but when I first published my journal, I went on Fiverr and I had about 3 or 4 people send me some kind of draft designs based on some ideas that I gave them, and I was able to get a cover
Yeah,
done.
that's exactly what I did.
Yeah, so
Yes,
and
exactly.
you can always change it if it doesn't do well, or if you decide it just doesn't look the way you expected over time, just do another version of your book and relaunch it. So
Yeah, I
can
actually
always
went to
get that.
Fiverr and did it. Yeah, that's exactly what I did.
So
Within like
what's the name of this book that you're
this is
in?
oh, so this is the an eBay seller's guide to financial planning.
Oh, nice. I'll have to
Yeah.
check it out.
So
Let me know when you
I
want it.
I basically would sell on eBay and Poshmark when I was first getting started, uh, getting back into getting out of debt, and it was a great tool for raising some extra money around the house. For getting rid of some stuff, raising some extra money, and I started getting into the reselling community a little bit more. And when I started diving deeper into the day-to-day operation of a reselling business, most of the people that I talk to are in and out real fast. They're in it for a couple months, they get some inventory, they get some money, and they're gone. And then a few years ago, there was this sort of trend to think about it as a business itself. And so when you
Right,
think about it
right,
as a business, you have to think then long term, cash flow, investment, estate planning, maybe even retirement planning. And nobody was talking about those topics. So I had just
right.
finished all the coursework. I was just fresh out of green, wet behind the ears and all that. So I said, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this as a sort of a step by step guide to take somebody from setting up their business to getting going to start planning for retirement and even sort of um, succession planning, like what to do with your business when if you're making a profitable business, you want to leave that to somebody.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
just get people to start thinking differently about short term, long term goals.
That's great. Now, do you talk a little bit about that in the Transformation Within book,
I,
or not
you know,
not the book necessarily, but the idea around businesses and side hustles, things like that?
sure. So I mentioned it as a way that I got out of debt using those methods. So we were $370,000 in debt when we hit our rock bottom, and crawling out using things like driving for Uber and delivering groceries on the side and mystery shopping, things
Yeah,
like that, to be able to go out to eat. That was actually really fun because we didn't have any money to go out to eat, but you become a mystery shopper and you get
right,
to go to these
right.
restaurants or a hotel or a theme park or something, and you get this
Get a discount
get it
and get a little stipend.
for free, or they pay you even
Yeah,
sometimes. It was like a
yeah,
free meal and they give you money to go there.
yeah.
All I gotta
Can't
do is
beat
say you
that.
were pretty good or bad, whatever. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it makes it easier to do those side hustles when there's those kind of perks, as opposed to just driving all day. If you're enjoying a dinner or shopping or doing something enjoyable, it makes the side hustle a little bit easier. So yeah, that sounds
exactly.
great. In my chapter, I really talk about more of a philosophy rather than the real deep nitty gritty of financial management and
Yep,
personal finance. I really talk about living life with intention, which is just being mindful of the things that you need to do to get the things that you're dreaming about. Whatever your goals are, they're not just going to happen. You have to take action, and a lot of those secrets are kind of rooted in just general personal financial management and just accountability in general. But I talk about it at a higher level of just being on different planes of accountability. And so that's what I was, kind of struggling when I first thought about writing a chapter. You can't tell your life story in a chapter, and I couldn't tell the whole philosophy of managing your finances in a chapter, at least in my mind. So I
Right.
just kind of thought I'd write more about accountability, and then kind of throw in a little bit of my life story of how I went through these planes of accountability, a little bit of financial, but I think I'll save the financial and personal financial writing to a broader book or a broader workbook or something like
Yeah. I felt the same way. It was like,
that.
how much do I want to get into, the basics of like what a coaching session would look like and philosophy behind mindset transformation and money mindset transformation, or do I want to just give an overall broad-based view of who I am, what shaped me, and what my philosophies are, and then if you like that, call me up. We'll have a conversation.
Right.
So that
Well,
was
that's
like I
that's the
struggle with that.
that's the beauty of a multi-author book is that you can get a lot of perspectives in one book, and as many people that I've met and learned from in this journey of 5.5 months now, people like you and others, um, to actually read the book, I think as a reader, you're going to get a little bit of a taste of different people's philosophy on life and the challenges
Mhm.
that they've overcome. And so you'll be able to resonate with one, two, three, four, five of those chapters easily because there's so many different perspectives from so many different authors that you're bound to
Yeah,
find something that you can relate to. You're bound to get some lessons that you can apply in your life, and you're bound to get some wisdom from people who've already experienced what you're going through, hopefully. So,
exactly.
and you can do it all and benefit of great charity, and that's the thing that I'm really excited about is that we're not doing this to benefit ourselves. We're doing this truly to help others. And when you contribute to a book that goes to charity in perpetuity, all the proceeds will continue benefiting this charity forever.
Yeah.
That's just what really gets me excited about the thought of doing that. I'm really looking forward to finding another project in a similar way, and maybe that'll help me continue my writing because I'm
Same.
really a rookie at this writing thing.
Yeah, same here. And I'm excited too about the whole charity thing. And of course, like when this is over, I'm gonna be following up with Tina, like, hey, how much did we make so far? What's our goal? So like we're numbers people, money people. So I'm excited to see how much we've donated. Could the next book match that? Can we do better next time around if we work together again? You're like, I'm all for like setting lofty goals.
Yeah, that's a great idea. It hadn't dawned on me that we could probably continue to get those stats. I knew that we probably could see the sales numbers through Amazon and see how the
Mhm.
book's doing in terms of its placement and categories. But um, you know, I think that would be awesome if Tina could continue to provide us periodically
Yeah.
the benefit of the revenue going to the charity, so that we can share that to all
And
the people that have committed to helping out.
and I like what you said earlier about the different coaches and different avenues and different subject matters that they're all a part of. The one thing that happened early on, I'll give a little insight behind the scenes here, was we were first getting ready to get started. It came to a lot of our attention that there were, one of a lot of different coaches in one area, and then there was a bunch of us in finance in money.
Right.
And the thought was like, well, some of us are rooted this way, and some of us are used to be that way. Now we're this way, and I don't want to, rain on these guys' parade and this back, and it was like we were gonna have this big powwow,
The
and
conflicting messages, right?
yeah, and I dropped the ball on that. But then I thought about it later on. I was like, you know what? There's not a one size fits all to any of this. So if you like what how I'm saying something or how I approach things or how Brian does it. I think there's Jessica's also a money coach, and there's one of the other girls in there too. I can't remember their names right now. It's also a money coach and mindset stuff, and he maybe has a conflicting message from what I'm saying or what there's. It's everybody's going to resonate with somebody, so we're not dumping on one person or whatever it was. It's just like you know it's going to work out for everybody. You're going to find that
And
one person you're going to resonate with.
everybody's on a personal journey. That's why it's personal finance. And so
Right.
while you might be rooted in one philosophy in terms of how you're managing your money and getting out of debt, you may get to a plane where that that process that you use to get to this level isn't what's going to serve you to move forward. You may shift your philosophy or your actions. You may transform from being a die-hard, you know, beans and rice and beans kind of saver to being an investor, and you may actually use debt to finance a business, right? But do it in a
Yep.
smart way, right? And so being on one extreme or the other of a philosophy or way of life doesn't really benefit you as you transform. That's what I love about the whole concept of transformation within, because you will go through a journey, you will learn things from others, and you will change your strategy, your mindset, and your way of looking at things as you go through that transformation. I like you, stumbled across, Dave Ramsey, right? So, it is a certain philosophy that Dave
Mm-hmm.
uh, promotes, and I loved it and was drawn to it initially because it was in your face and it was accountability, right? And that's what really drew me to it.
Yeah.
But then I learned also his philosophy, these are kind of business secrets from the Bible, right? So I kind of resonated with that he's not making this stuff up. It's just, it's philosophies that are rooted kind of in the Bible. And also he's an extremist with his kind of way of looking at it, where I talk to other people who are investors and they say, well, yeah, but debt, it's something that you shouldn't strive to have debt, but you can also collaborate with other people. And sometimes it involves using debt to do that collaboration, because when you borrow money to do a project, you're actually benefiting somebody, right? You're benefiting the bank by giving, that interest, but you're
Mm-hmm.
also benefiting far more people than if you had used just the money that you had on your own, right? And so, but you have to do it in a smart way, right? You have to be able to manage debt. You have to have the mindset to manage debt and to do it temporarily and to do it in a way that's smart, right? So, yeah, my philosophy has changed as I went through my transformation. I got out of debt, but then I found myself to a point where, okay, now I'm debt free. But all the things that I was investing in before, I was investing in real estate, and I was really borrowing money and taking on debt to buy these properties.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I now realize if I do want to leave a legacy for my children, I want to get back into real estate, and I'm not going to buy all my properties with cash. It just doesn't make sense. So, yeah, I could see where we might conflict or have different views on how to manage money and how to
Mm-hmm.
use debt. But I think everybody will go through their own journey and hopefully land in a place where they're able to be accountable for whatever decisions they make and how they manage their money. And just as long as you can stay out of trouble and not get in a place where you can't get out of, if you have wealth and you have money and you borrow, you can typically get out of trouble because you already have enough money to finance that debt in the first place, or at least a large portion, right? Or you have the wherewithal to sell that property or do something like that if you can, or don't take on more than you can manage, so to speak. So, but yeah, I'll
Mm-hmm.
get off that soapbox. You get me start talking about finances, I'll get far and far away from the topic of the transformation within book, and I'll go down a rabbit hole of talking about
Uh,
money.
but that's part of your transformation, right? Like
Exactly.
Yeah, like so when we were getting our process together when we were started getting out of debt, we are like we knew all this stuff, right? Like Dave says, it's God's and grandma's philosophy. You hear it all the time. Save for a rainy day, don't spend more than you make. My dad used to instill it in me, all the time, but then you don't listen to your parents after a while and you think you know it all. So we got into a heap of trouble when the recession hit last time in 2007. And we had a pretty successful business and we started spending like we were still making that money, but we
Right.
made like half or less. And I was like, oh, I got credit cards here. It's enough for a year or two salary. It's good. I'll pay it back at some point. And then you miss one payment and all of a sudden your payments triple, your insurance rates quadruple, and you just get
Yeah.
behind this hole you can't get out of.
And
And
I think
yeah,
what tends to happen, and I hope I'm not cutting you off too
oh
quickly,
no,
but you kind of triggered a thought is that as people have some measure of success, either in a business or with a job, you're getting a bigger salary, you tend to get a bigger appetite for things, right? And so you want a bigger house, you want a better car, you start spending more because you're making more, and that happens like immediately, like right out of high school. Kid gets a job, he
yeah,
gets a car, and that's something that I think, if I had learned early this whole idea of being a minimalist and really just kind of getting things that you really need and not wanting things that really don't benefit you. There's so many things we buy and we just set aside. You can go through your garage, you can go through your closet, and they'll just be things, trinkets, and dozens of them. And so when I say being accountable for your money, I really mean that you really need to think about the things you really want and the things you really need, and not the shiny things to just show others that you've achieved some level of success, the shiny car or whatever. You can
yeah,
have those things when you can afford them. When you can afford them and they're not going to get you in trouble, those things are great to have. But I'll never have like 3 cars, 4 cars in my garage. I don't care if I won the lottery tomorrow. I can't use 4 cars. It
right.
doesn't, I might have two. I could use two, but once you get to a point where you're buying things that you really can't use, they're just gonna they're just gonna sit, and anything that sits still and doesn't get used deteriorates, and eventually the value deteriorates too.
Yeah, I think Dave says all hat, no cattle on a lot of
Yeah,
those. And
yeah,
that was exactly what we did. We were the shiny people. So we were doing graduated college. We're going to go to grad school, and we fell into this career. So we didn't go right away, and we were dog sitting. And people were like, "You went to college to be a dog sitter?" And it's like, no, I didn't go to college to be a dog sitter. I went to college to learn about life and skills and business. And now I'm running a business. And oh, you're walking dogs and picking up poop all day. I mean, so my answer to that was, oh yeah, I just bought a brand new car. I'm going to Jamaica for a week and a half, or I'm
right,
going here,
right.
I'm going there. And it's like, oh, you did all that? Yeah, I make a ton of money walking dogs. I mean, come on, it's a business. To try to show people that it was the right choice for us to be doing this. And then
Right.
we just overspent to make that, to hammer that point home was very costly.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You're trying to prove your worth to other people instead
Yeah,
of yourself, and
yeah,
that's
exactly.
why I think I'm gravitating more in coaching from pure financial coaching to more accountability and life coaching, because the lessons that you really need to be successful have more to do with life than they do with money.
Exactly.
And
Like
you know,
you probably
how you treat
experienced this.
people, how you
Yeah,
how you how you manage your own personal behavior. All of those things contribute a lot more to your financial success than the job or the success that you might have in your investments and things like that. Things will
exactly.
come to you if you uh, manage your life in a way that's beneficial to others. Then you will get the reward of helping others. That's something that I kind of learned from my parents and from others. But my parents really weren't wealthy, and so I didn't learn how to invest a dollar. I learned how to save a dollar. And so that benefited me an awful lot, but it didn't teach me how to grow well. And it certainly didn't teach me how to build a legacy or create generational wealth. It taught me how to manage and survive, but it didn't teach me how to thrive. And so, that's one of the things I'm trying to do for my kids is to kind of go up a level from what I learned from my parents, bring that with me, but then try to add on other lessons that I've learned from other mentors and other people in my life.
For sure. Yeah, I'm totally like that too. Whenever we would start a business, wherever I get involved in something, it's like I know how I want to do it, right? I'm very headstrong with it. This is exactly how I want to operate it. But I like to take bits and pieces of what works from other people. So I'm not copying like for example, I'm a Ramsey preferred coach, the Ramsey master coach, whatever. So I'll stick Dave philosophies when I'm working with a Dave client, but I know enough that if I'm not working with a Dave client, that might not resonate too well. So I know enough to, expand my box out and work in other
Sure,
areas. There's also, and you
sure.
probably have experienced this too, when you talk about life coaching and accountability coaching is, I do an hour session sometimes with people, and it's 55 to 56 minutes of not talking about money. It's
Yeah,
only a
yeah,
few minutes here and there, but it all relates in some way to money and eventually, but it's always something else. And it's just that accountability and getting to the why. Financial advisors, the quote is financial advisors worry about how your money reacts to the world. Financial coaches worry about how you react to your money.
yeah,
And
yeah. And I
that's,
thought at one point about going into financial advisor kind of work, but I don't really want to manage someone's money or help. I don't want to help them. I want to teach them how to manage it themselves. And that's the accountability part. That's the part of identifying what you want in your life, what those dreams are, and then teaching people how to structure their activities and break those goals down into actionable steps and to be accountable for taking action for yourself and ignoring all the noise that comes in from other people's lives. What you see on Instagram and YouTube and
mm-hmm,
all these people that are living their best life. A lot of that stuff looks great when you look at it through their lens, but you got to look at life through your own lens. You have to kind of recognize what you want. And
right.
it's fun to do a lot of the things you see other people doing, but is it really going to help you get to where you want to go? And
Yeah,
so I
that's
really
perfect.
am, really, really committed to the accountability side and really just helping people recognize that. And if you do that, if you manage your life with intention and you live accountable, then the success will come in all areas of your life, not just financial. It'll come in your relationships, it'll come in your health, how you take care of yourself, your body. You'll get out and you'll walk and you'll do things that benefit you because you'll have an idea of how you want to look and feel and your body to be able to withstand all the pressures and stress that you put on it. And
Yep.
so that's why I think I'm kind of transitioning into more of a life coach because um, I've really seen that the people who are struggling financially, they're really struggling with getting control of their life, and the finances part is just the hardest part because we need money in order to survive and to take care of others, and that money part of it really gets in the way of all the other things. I mean, it can get in the way of your health if you don't have money to eat healthy, then you're not going to be healthy. If you're having stress from your work environment and your work relationships and your job, it's going to take an effect on your finances. And um, because sometimes people stay in a job or leave a job because of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes that job might be what you need in order to learn the skills that'll get you to the next job. And some people take a new job because they can make $5,000, $10,000 more per year, and they're leaving behind all these mentors or great people that they were working with that were teaching them something for that extra money, and they don't realize that they may get to that new job and it may be a totally different environment. They may not be able to get out and exercise and do the things that they. So you need to really take a broader look at all the things that you want in your life before you focus in on just one category or one area. So yeah,
Great
that's why
stuff.
I really love the whole concept of the wheel of life, because
Hmm.
you really look at it holistically. And being a coach in just one sliver of that pie, just it felt restrictive to me, you know.
Yeah, and what you said earlier was exactly the philosophy behind the podcast, kill and then the name "Kill the Noise." It's eliminating that outside interference to focus on internal success. So
Yeah,
forget about what everybody's talking about. Focus on what you can do to make yourself better, because you're going to hear a lot of noise and you got to filter all that out. And most of it is
exactly.
just gibberish noise anyway. You're never going to hear what you want to hear if you just are hearing noise.
And
If
the
you can
more
eliminate that,
successful you
it'll come to you.
become, the more noise you're going to hear from haters, because
Yes.
you know, even people you love struggle sometimes with your success. And it's something that you really can struggle with if you allow it, if you don't kill that noise like you're saying. Um, but I always try to stay engaged with everybody, regardless of how much success I have or they have. There's a lot of people that are a whole lot more successful than me that I just continue to try to connect with, because I want to learn from them and I want to understand it, the things that they did to achieve what they've achieved. And I'm going through that transformation now with this whole writing process and meeting so many authors who've got books. You, like yourself, you've already written a full book. I'm learning what it takes to become a writer, and this process has kind of exposed me to all these individuals who've got the competencies, they've got the know-how, they know how to market, they know how to
Yeah.
ask people for what you want, and that's something that I wasn't accustomed to either. If you want people to buy a book, you need to ask. A closed mouth doesn't get fed. And as many followers as you might have, as many friends and colleagues as you might have, we're all hearing that noise that you're talking about. Our
Yeah.
phones, our notifications, we're constantly getting bombarded with input. So if you need someone to do something for you, you need to ask. You need to be humble. You need to follow up with them, and you need to say thank you for helping me help this charity. And
Hmm.
so that takes a lot of accountability to ask people for something, even if it's only $1.99. Some people just won't ask other people for help. They just feel like it makes them smaller to ask for help. And then whether it's money or whether it's advice or anything, people just struggle with saying, help me. It's kind of
Right.
sad, you know.
For sure. So the book is Transformation Within. It releases tomorrow, November 16th, 2022, $1.99, Amazon Kindle. Hard copy in a couple weeks, but make sure you get your Kindle copy tomorrow. It's very important for us as the
Absolutely.
writers to get
It's
your
the
copy tomorrow.
introductory price. It will
Yeah,
go
it
up
will be going
later,
up.
even the ebook.
Yes,
So
get it
definitely get
now.
it while it's an introductory price.
Get it while it's hot, as they say. If
Absolutely.
people want to reach out to you, Brian, where's the best way for them to reach you?
Yeah, they can reach me basically at prosperitytoolkit.com. There's the name of my practice right there. And once you get the book, there'll be some more contact information in the bio. So definitely
Great.
reach me there. I have a presence on Instagram, and I also am trying to create a presence on Facebook, struggling a little bit in some of the social media things, but yeah, definitely uh, get the book and check out me and some of the other great authors. And I'm available for one-on-one coaching and sharing my philosophy. And I really appreciate you having me on your show, Joey. I definitely want to keep in touch and collaborate with you on some other things. We have a lot in
Sure.
common, obviously, and we are definitely interested in helping others. So I
Great.
appreciate your
Definitely.
time and
Yeah,
energy.
you're welcome. Definitely love to have you
Thanks.
back in a future episode. We'll talk more about money and life and
Yeah,
accountability
look
and all
forward
that
to it.
fun stuff.
Definitely, let's do it. All
Great.
right, have a good day, and congratulations on becoming hopefully will be a best-selling author and for supporting the charity.
All
Take
right, this
care.
has been an episode of Kill the Noise podcast with special guest Brian Thomas from Prosperity Toolkit. All the information will be in the description and notes below. And thank you for joining us.